I want you to look closely at these two photos. They were taken at the exact same location with the exact same camera and crucially with the exact same wide-angle lens. But they feel completely different, don't they? The one on the left has more connection with the foreground and the mountain looks small. The one on the right feels vast and calm and it has a different perspective. Most photographers would tell you the difference is the settings or the lighting or maybe some photography wizardry. But they would be wrong. The difference isn't in the gloss, it's in the legs, the tripod legs.
Take a few handheld shots at ISO 64. Sit here, you can see less of the sea and the ocean, but if I were to stand, you can see more. I've lowered it quite a bit, so I am compressing the scene, and later on, to get some reflections on the water, I'm going to raise it. So the tripod is set up. I've set it up a little high so that you can appreciate the canola fields.
Welcome back, guys. Today we are talking about the wide-angle lenses and the secret relationship they have with your tripod height. See, a lot of us treat our tripods like a fancy coat rack. We extend the legs to eye level, plonk the camera down and start shooting. We treat the height of the tripod as a convenience factor. How much do I want to bend my back today? But with a wide-angle lens, your tripod height isn't just about ergonomics. It is a compositional tool that is just as powerful as your aperture or shutter speed. And to prove it, we need to go back to the beach. Point number 1, the low angle. When you drop those tripod legs and get down into the sand, something magical happens with a wide-angle lens. I call this compressing the scene. I know telephoto lenses compress distance, but hear me out. When you get super low with a wide-angle lens, you are effectively hiding the middle ground. The ocean, that big gap of water between you and the mountain. It disappears. Look at this shot. By getting low, I'm telling the lens, focus on this. The rocks, the texture, the immediate foreground. The background, Table Mountain, is still there, but it feels like it is sitting right on top of those rocks. We have removed the spacer of the middle ground. It creates intimacy. It makes the viewer feel like they are standing right there on the rocks. It's impactful. It is dramatic. I agree, but it comes at a cost. You lose the story of the ocean. You lose the context of the distance. What happens when we do the opposite? Point number 2, the high angle. I extended the legs fully. I'm standing up straight. The camera is now 5 or 6 feet in the air. Suddenly, the scene uncompresses. The middle ground, the ocean we hit earlier, comes rushing back into the frame. We can see the water, we can see the choppy waves, we can see the reflections of the sunset on the wet sand. We have created separation. The story isn't just rock and mountain. The story is rock flowing into the ocean, leading to the mountain. It's a journey for the eye. This is where the wide-angle lens can be tricky. If you go high without a plan, you just get a lot of empty space. But if you have something interesting in the middle ground, like reflections or wave patterns, going high is the only way to show them off. It's not just beaches. This applies everywhere. Take this shot from Newlands Forest here in Cape Town. If I had set up my tripod low here at a dog eye level, all you would see is rushing white water and maybe a blurry rock. Because I kept the camera high, you can see the stream winding through the forest. You see the depth. I was in Namibia, surrounded by this incredible cracked earth, and I found this tiny, brave little plant. If I shot this from eye level, the plant would have looked like a speck of dust against the giant sand dune. It would be boring. It would be photo of nothing. So I had to get low, aggressively low, by putting the lens inches from the plant. I made this tiny little thing look like a giant. I compressed the distance between the plant and the dune, making them feel like partners in the frame. So what's the lesson here? Don't be a tripod zombie. A tripod zombie is a photographer who hikes to a location, finds a spot, immediately opens their tripod to full height, clamps the camera on and never moves. They are statues. Don't be that photographer. When you get on a location, keep the tripod in your bag, keep the camera in your hand, walk around, squat down, stand on your tippy toes, look like a weirdo doing yoga in public. Use your eyes to see how the relationship between the foreground and background changes as you move up and down. Only when you find the perfect height, the height that tells the story you want to tell, then you set up the tripod. Remember, a wide-angle lens distorts reality, but you get to decide how it distorts it by where you place your camera. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. If you didn't, well, hit it anyway. It's free. Let me know in the comments, are you a get low and get dirty kind of a photographer, or do you prefer to keep your knees clean and shoot high? I will see you in the next one. Until then, Khuday Paman.